Hi, guys. Welcome to Financial Future. This is for the adults in your life. We are meeting with Doug Morris from Thrivent Financial. Doug is from our community here in Auburn. And with that, I will throw it over to him. Go ahead, Doug.
Hi. And I'm just going to warn you guys, nobody turn me in, but I have a horrible habit when I'm on these things of touching my face and having a cup of coffee while I'm doing it. So please don't turn me into any of the COVID police or make fun of me for having coffee in the middle of the afternoon.
No, we love our coffee.
Okay. As Nikki said, I am from Auburn. I've lived in Auburn since 1995. I believe. Been there a while. And my wife, Brenda, and I live there with our remaining daughter. Elizabeth is a junior in high school. My two older, Carter and Amanda, have left for college and marriage and all that fun stuff and are still in the Northeast Indiana. But Brenda and I are still in Auburn and love the community, love the opportunity to serve there. And I was telling Nikki, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a brief introduction to who I am and a little bit of a brief introduction to the company I work for. And then I'm just going to open it up for questions and see what kind of questions you guys have about financial planning, about the economy that we're dealing with right now and things like that. I have been a financial advisor for a few years. Before that, I worked in the insurance field. And prior to that, I worked in the automotive and technology field. So a little bit of a varied background. And one of the things that I chose to come to this company for, we are a faith-based company. We are the only not-for-profit on the Fortune 500. And one of the things that I've been talking to Nikki about is we do some really cool things, like the fact that because we're a not-for-profit company, we don't pay the IRS every year. We take the money that would have gone to the IRS and we give it to local, regional, and national charities. The biggest one that we support as a company is Habitat for Humanity, but locally, we have clients that we are able to send their portion of the not-for-profit side to local churches. I'm going to be working with the Gathering to get them set up so that in the future we can help support the church financially, as well as through service projects and things of that nature. We are a full-service company, and we can do anything from setting up a small mutual fund to life insurance to retirement planning to taking care of your future generations of your family. And one of my favorite things is when I get to tell people that every time I meet with you and every time you talk to me and every time I come to your house or you come to my office and I give you advice, that is 100% free to you. You never have to write me a check. You might have to write a check to the company eventually if you do something, but if somebody calls me 10 times in a week and asks me questions about what they should do or how they should handle something, that's a completely free service, and do that so that we can help people make wise choices. And the last thing that I'll tell you is, I mentioned I've been doing this for a little while. I have a passion for this because of the fact that when I was younger, the professional way I say it is, I didn't always make wise choices financially and for future planning. The realistic thing is I was an idiot when I was younger, and I learned the hard way. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I should have listened to the people that cared, and I should have listened to the people that gave me advice. And I didn't do it because I was 25 and I knew more than anybody in the world. And now that I'm not 25, I realize that, I didn't know as much as I thought I did then. And I want to help people avoid making the same poor choices that I did. So that is I'd say 30-second, but more than 30-second overview of me and the company. So now I want to do is just ask you guys if you have any questions about what's going on today in the world with the economy, with finances, anything of that nature. So I'm an open book for you. So go ahead, while I drink my coffee, you hit me with questions.
I'll just ask one. Maybe it's a personal question, but how old are you?
I'm 50.
50?
I don't look a day over 31. I know, but
oh man, you're young.
Yeah. Compared to some people, yes. Compared to my kids and the guys at the gym I play ball with, I'm old.
All right. So you like to stay active?
I try. I before the shutdown, I try and get to the Y and play full court basketball 2 or 3 days a week. And
All
I own a treadmill. It holds a lot of clothes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess for me, the uncertainty of like when we're going back to, I don't want to use the word normal, like, but when we will return to
pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID stuff. Like what does the financial, I mean, we hear a bunch of stuff from our government about when they think it's going to happen and when they hope it's going to happen. But speaking financially from somebody that, sees all the forecasts and things like that, what are you seeing?
There's two ways to look at that, and unfortunately, they're almost diametrically opposed in some situations, because one of them is the economy as a whole. And by the economy as a whole, I mean the things that we look at are the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We look at the unemployment report. We look at the GDP, how much we're producing and how much we're sending out versus what we're bringing in, what the Federal Reserve is doing as far as interest rates. Those big picture things are going to recover, and they're going to recover quicker than people anticipated, I think. A lot of what we hear is people talk about 2008 and what happened then.
Right.
The big thing to remember is 2008 was issues within the system. There were systematic flaws that needed to be corrected. This was not necessarily something within the system. This was what we call a black swan event. We all know black swans exist, but they're very rare, and it's not something you see. This was something that was forced onto us. It wasn't a flaw in the system. So from a big picture side of it, those things will recover. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has already picked up quite a bit of what it lost. It went from almost 30,000 down to a little over 18,000. Today we're going to close above 24,000. So we've made up almost over half of what we lost. But that doesn't really matter to somebody who doesn't have a job. Right. That doesn't matter to somebody who is trying to figure out, I've got $50 in my bank account and $75 worth of bills. So that side of the economy is going to be a little bit different. It's going to take a little longer for some of that stuff to come back. So that's one of them where it really is more of a one-on-one type of thing to sit down with somebody and to develop a budget and to develop a priority system. I hate to tell people this, but sometimes you do have to say, you know what, I'm going to pass on this bill and I'm going to contact them and I'm going to pay a little bit towards it, but I can't pay everything all at once because although the economy is getting better, my job hasn't started yet. So, those are things that we have to deal with on an individual basis. They're not always easy. Sometimes they're very hard to deal with. But the good news is if the big picture looks better, the small picture will get clearer sooner. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Yep. Okay. Jolene, you got anything?
I'm just listening right now, so I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I have another one.
Because I live in Auburn, I may have to come knock on your door and get you to ask a question that way. So it's easier if you do it now.
I have another one.
Okay.
What is the danger of low oil prices for our economy?
There's a couple of ways to look at that. You can look at it as a two-sided coin that if you're invested in oil, you're not getting the return on your investment. The other side of that is people tend to look at oil strictly from the gas prices. But if you stop and think about the amount of products that are made with oil, now all of a sudden oil is cheaper. So the price of plastics goes down. The price of other things goes down, because the cost to produce those things is lowered. Now you're stimulating the economy because of the fact that, so yes, you're losing some of the investment on that side, but now the people that are using that product are able to buy things cheaper, make more of them, or sell them at a lower price. In the long run, you're going to benefit from it, whether it's from lower gas prices, whether it's from lower prices on petroleum products, plastic products, things like that. In the long run, you should see benefit from that. I can get into it if somebody has concerns about the environmental aspect of it, things like that. But the nice part is it does free us up from impact from Russia, Venezuela, OPEC, things of that nature. We are able to lessen our reliance on them. So there are some more drawbacks.
Like supply and demand, though, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's, once again, we're not driving as much right now. So that
we're not using as many products right now either.
Maybe Robert's driving, but
yeah, I don't pay. I'm not paying the gas bill though. I know that Venezuela depended upon oil production, and it really collapsed their economy. And now Russia is really in serious trouble because they depended heavily on the oil business. And so, but I know we don't depend as much upon it because we're the leader, we're the economic leader in energy, so that we can produce much more of it. And then, so we're kind of have a buffer there, but it's not going to be good for like Russia, right?
They are going to see bigger issues on it. And that's one of the reasons that the prices have dropped so much. It's not just that we're able to produce more, but because we're able to produce more, they are flooding the market to try and they want it to be not cost effective for us to drill our own. They want it to be more cost effective for us to buy from them. And so as that happens, that's going to eventually, they're going to have to come to the conclusion that, oh, wait a second, America's stubborn enough, they're going to do it their way. And so the other nice thing is, because we are not oil dependent like the others, if our oil production slows down, it will affect us, but it won't break us. Russia, that was their income for a lot of years. Venezuela, that was their income for a lot of years. And once we discovered, hey, wait a second, we can get shale oil now instead of just doing deep oil well, they could say, yeah, before we were able to charge them, $200 a barrel, and now it's $30 a barrel. And and not to get too political on it, but they also had a lot of other things tied up in Venezuela that they were paying for so many things and making so many promises. When that dropped, that made a difference. So that's a different political discussion instead of an economic one, though.
All right, very good.
Yep. You guys got anything else?
Not really.
Okay. I think I'm good.
Maybe a quickie.
Yeah.
My wife and I are getting older in age, and neither one of us have anything planned for burial, and that just bearing more and more on me every year that I need to really take care of that. What would you suggest?
If you have the money for it, if there's a way to fit it into your budget, it is a good idea to pre-plan that and to prepay it. I will tell you personally, my wife and I have everything set up. We're going to be cremated. It was not for any particular religious reasons. It was not for any reasons that we wanted to make sure the kids got to keep us on the mantle. It was because it was significantly cheaper than buying a burial plot and a headstone. I mean, for us, it really came down to a cost-effective decision. So I do think that it is a good idea to pre-plan that if you can. I will tell you that if you plan to live through your retirement, planning for your retirement should be a higher priority, but planning for a funeral should be a priority. It may not necessarily be the highest priority, though.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and I know my grandparents pre-planned and prepaid for their funeral and everything when they were in their 60s.
Yeah.
And they didn't die until they were in their 90s. So when you invest that money for your funeral, it actually goes into a fund and earns interest and things like that. So it can cover the inflation of the funeral costs and stuff too.
And right now, the figure that we use as an average funeral, burial, everything, we figure the average is between $12,000 and $15,000 per person. So
it's no joke.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why we went with the cremation, because it was a heck of a lot cheaper. And if the kids want to stick us in an attic, fine.
Yep.
So
All right.
cremation is cheaper than the regular burial, then you say?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'm all for cheap.
Yeah. It's even cheaper if you can get a buddy do it in the backyard. So.
Well, my wife has suggested that, but
did she suggest it before you died, though? That's the
right.
That's funny. Okay. Well, I think today was great. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact Doug at Thrivent, Doug Morris at Thrivent in Fort Wayne. Doug, can you give him the phone number?
Yes. My phone number is 260-387-0428. And what I will do is I will drop some cards off to Nikki. So if you guys ever want to pick something up, you can. I will tell you, it sounds bad to say this. I'm pretty decent at what I do, but I'm also pretty easy to talk to. And, I'm like a gym. It's a no judgment zone. I've made most of the poor decisions people can make financially. And I've seen a lot of different ones. And hey, everybody goes through their path differently. So my job is to try and get people back onto the right path as quickly and as easily as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's our time for today. So thank you very much, Doug. And
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
Look forward to hopefully seeing you guys or some more next week.
Without snow.
Yeah. It's nice and toasty in my office. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys.